So many of you guys know I made a video on how Tariq is trying to find an exit from the game, how Ghost was right, and this is a continuation from my last video based on some exclusive quotes and details with what we can expect, not just for season 3, but for the series in general, and it centers around Tariq's love life, how at some stage he's gonna have a decision to make based on a particular love interest. Tariq is gonna have to choose the boardroom or the streets, and someone close to Tariq is gonna play a crucial role in his decision. And this could be the big shift in the series, because it has been teased there is gonna be a big shift around season 4 or 5. So if you haven't done so already, I would urge you guys to watch this video first, because it really does set the foundation for how Ghost warned Tariq, and how he's coming to the realization of the consequences through his hallucinations, actions, and death of those that get close to him. So with that being said, let's get straight into this decision that Tariq is gonna have to make. So this was a question that was asked to Courtney Kemp after the series finale of Ghost Season 2. Do you think Tariq could truly walk away from the game, and does he actually want to? And the answer that Courtney Kemp gave wasn't just based on Season 3, but it was also based on the series in general. So we're talking Season 4, 5, and maybe even 6. But this is exactly what Courtney Kemp said. Somewhere in Tariq's future, there's gonna be a woman in his life who demands that he makes a choice between the boardroom and the street. And that choice and that woman, that's gonna become a very difficult dilemma for Tariq as he goes forward. The quote that I just gave you is for the series of Ghost, it's not for next season. For next season, what I would tease is, there's going to be fault lines drawn between Tariq and his friends for various reasons, and those will affect some fault lines that will be drawn within the Teased. There's going to be a series of earthquakes and a series of aftershocks that will shake the foundation and remake the series in a really sort of impactful way. So let's start with the women that are currently in Tariq's life, past, present, and future, because no doubt Tariq will have more relationships who represent his life at different stages, especially when he gets to the boardroom. But starting with Lauren, she was someone who Tariq could live this double life with, similar to how Ghost did with Angela, because she gave him this sense of normality away from the regular chaos he was always involved in with the Teased and his court case. But Effie said it best.
Like, when you're with her, you have to be a version of yourself that you're not.
So when it came to Lauren, he could never really be honest with who he was, because she was someone who believed drug dealers and murderers should be in jail, and we constantly saw him being distracted by his double life whenever he was with her, mainly because he wanted to keep her safe. But unfortunately it doesn't work that way in the world of power, and Tariq said it himself, those who get close to him either end up dead or get sent away. Now with Diana, he always held back because he knew never to mix business with pleasure, especially being the daughter of Monet. But we did see their relationship grow to the point where they did sleep together, but this relationship ended up being one where they used each other to get certain things done. And then towards the end of season 2, Tariq realized Diana played him to get his product, and this opened his eyes to the fact he couldn't trust her. So the trust between the two is definitely broken, and we're gonna come back to their relationship in just a moment. But the third is Effie, who he feels most comfortable with, because he can truly be himself, because she understands who he is, what he's gone through, and what he has to do, which dates back to season 1.
I feel like I understand you. You are a monster, Tariq. We both are.
So in season 1, we saw Tariq go to Effie for advice when Tasha tasked him to kill Epiphany, but she knows exactly who Tariq is. He's a monster, and this continued in season 2.
I mean, it was him and me, Effie. I had no choice.
You did what you had to do.
But the problem with Effie is, even though she understands who Tariq is and how she's been there for him, she's very unpredictable herself. And the major question a lot of us were asking during season 2 was, can we trust Effie? And I do think we can, to a certain extent. But she is still one to watch, because the fault lines definitely extend to this relationship because of what Effie did with Lauren, and how she warned Diana to stay away from Tariq, only to go back on her own advice and end up falling for him when she said she wouldn't.
You told me you wasn't trying to get attached.
Yeah, I think it might be too late.
So Effie warned Diana not to get involved with Tariq, only for herself to end up falling for him instead, when she knows who he is. But what complicates things even more is, Tariq is also Diana's first, which naturally causes some attachment. An attachment Diana was already growing over Tariq ever since season 1, because you could tell how much she liked him, which stretched to Diana even wanting to go to Stansfield just to be closer to Tariq. So you can really sense some tension between Effie and Diana at some point in season 3 over Tariq. And this is one of the various reasons why the fault lines will be crossing paths with the Teased next season. But there's also going to be some other big changes with Effie's move to Stansfield. And we can't forget about how both Effie and Brayden were involved with what happened to Lauren, because it all came from Brayden being pressured by Kane and Effie because she was a major threat, not just because of what she did with the wire, but because of what she knows, and where Tariq's decision was based on his love for Lauren. Effie and Kane were looking at this in the sense, you can't have any loose ends lying around in the game, and they knew what needed to be done. For Effie, the decision may have run deeper because she was falling for Tariq, and she knew Lauren was in the way, especially because you only saw this look when Tariq spoke about Lauren in front of Effie. Now we know Tariq had serious trust issues with Effie before, which stems from his time with Effie ratting him out back at Choate in season 6 of Power. And if Tasha was around in season 2, I think she would have said, whatever you do not trust this girl. And this is one of the major differences with Tariq in season 1 and season 2. So rewinding it back to season 1 when Tasha was in jail, he had no choice but to lean on Effie, but he still had Tasha to give him advice on how to approach the situation. Tasha said when she had troubles with Ghost, she made Ghost trust her, and this is what she told Tariq, get Effie to trust you. But as we moved into season 2, Tasha wasn't there to give this advice, and we saw Tariq a lot more isolated, forcing him to trust Brayden and Effie. But with Tasha being reintroduced in episode 10 and now a phone call away because Yasmin will have the phone that Tariq gave her, I do wonder if Tasha, along with the hallucination scene of Kanan, will make him realize the truth behind Lauren's death, which really would open up a huge can of worms, not just with his relationship with Effie, but with Brayden as well, because surely Tariq at some point will realize the truth. So with there being consequences to Tariq's actions, this brings me on to how Tariq will eventually have to choose between the boardroom and the streets, and which girl will make him choose, because I don't think Effie will be his only love interest going forward. But you can look at this from two perspectives. Is this girl who's demanding him to choose between the boardroom from the boardroom herself, or is she from the streets? Because the one thing I'm sure we can all be certain of is, Tariq will still be looking for this normality from someone else, and this will probably end up with him connecting with someone else from the real world. And it does seem like some focus will be shifting towards the boardroom because of the new characters they're introducing. There's Brayden's family Lucas Weston, who's a high-level executive at his family's Wall Street firm. There's also Kiki Travis, who's making her way in the world of business elite, and I think she could be one to watch who could cross paths with Tariq. But there's also RSJ, Obi, and Noma. So with Course Correct now dead, Tariq wanting out of the game, Brayden being removed from Stansfield and moved into his Wall Street firm, which belongs to his father, and with all of these new characters which are being introduced, you can really see which direction they're taking the story for future seasons. So with that being said, over a year ago, Courtney Kemp teased something like this when she said, I think I have in mind 5 or 6 seasons. The big shift I'm planning is for season 4, which would take the show in a new direction where frankly, it could go on forever. The show could go on for 10 seasons or more, considering that shift, and it is a big shift. And I do have some theories and ideas myself which I'm going to continue with tomorrow. But this big shift could very well be this decision that Tariq has to make and is forced to make by a love interest. But will he choose the streets or the boardroom? Because we all know he wants out of the game already. But once you enter the game, it's damn near impossible to leave. Even if later in the series, Tariq does manage to free himself from under Monet and the Tejadas, which I do expect him to do. But we all saw what happened to Ghost. He was stuck under Felipe Lobos. He then found himself under the shackles of Milan. And then there was Jason Michich. And even when Ghost found himself chasing his political career, we still saw his past catch up with him a number of times. So even if and when Tariq thinks he's left the game behind, whether it be in season 4, 5 or 6, I'm sure his past will eventually catch up with him just like it did with Ghost. And this is when we'll see Power come full circle. And with that being said, drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on whether Tariq will make the decision of the boardroom or the streets, and which girl will try and force this decision. Will the girl be from the streets or will she be from the boardroom? Drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and of course if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.